Einat Wilf, former member of Israeli parliament and an author, your quick thoughts on how serious was the intelligence failure of the October 7 attack?
Dramatic. And the biggest failure is that the Palestinians told us publicly every day that they planned to destroy us, and we just didn't take them seriously.
All right. How do you assess Netanyahu's leadership under this crisis?
Leave much to be desired, mostly because I think he failed in defining the enemy correctly. The enemy is not just Hamas. The enemy is the Palestinian ideology, Palestinianism, that is obsessed with the destruction of the Jewish state. That's the enemy that we need to defeat.
All right. Do you think the threat of Islamic terrorism has increased post October 7 attack worldwide, not just for Israel?
It's always been very high. Again, listen to them. They make it very clear what their goals are, that they plan to continue, and they do not consider their situation to be such that they need to stop.
Your thoughts on Trump's Riviera Gaza plan?
What he did was finally put something that introduces the important idea of consequences, that the Palestinians cannot expect to launch such an invasion, a massacre, and then to suffer no consequences. So they need to understand that if they want anything to be rebuilt in Gaza, their entire worldview needs to change.
All right. Your assessment of the hostage crisis, about 30 hostages still remain in Gaza. How do you look at that?
I wish that all world leaders on October 8th would have said what the American president is saying now. Israel owes you nothing. You do not get to kidnap people and then demand negotiations and ransom. The only people that are being starved in Gaza right now are the hostages. And it should be made clear, indeed, that there will be hell to pay if they are not released.
Do you think two-state solution can ever come back on the table?
It was never on the table. For the last century, the Palestinians have never said yes to any two-state solution if one of the two states is the Jewish state. For there to be a two-state solution to even be born, the Palestinians actually need to want a state. You cannot want for them what they've never wanted for themselves. And they never wanted a state if it has to live next to a Jewish state.
All right. Now, the ceasefire in place, how do you envision the future of this conflict? How do you see this ending?
The tragedy of the conflict is a tragedy of ceasefires. Whenever the Arabs attack Israel, trying to destroy the Jewish state, and they fail, they cry for a ceasefire so that they can re-attack Israel once more. We need to stop with ceasefires. We need to go back to things that were understood in World War II. The enemy, whether they're the Nazis or Imperial Japan, has to be defeated. And only by acknowledging defeat can they begin to change and become peaceful.
Thank you so much for speaking to India Today Global and giving us your side of the story.
My pleasure.